Once you have the attention of the President of the United States, the impact can potentially be massive, and maybe we're looking at influencing policy and reopening the country sooner than some health experts probably want it to. Coronavirus has spread around the world now, and the majority of countries have responded by bringing in lockdowns. So people can't go to work. Obviously, people are angry about that. They're losing their jobs. And protests have sprung up in India, Germany, Brazil. Even the president of Brazil attended one.
Nós não queremos negociar nada.
But I think they've been most widespread in the United States.
And it's unwillingly that we're taking unemployment. We want to go back to work.
We need to feed ourselves and our families.
You can't eat, you can't live.
There's also an aspect about government overreach. So in America, people also are always very proud of their freedom from government, and the orders that are going on to close down the country is kind of seen as un-American by some.
We are the owners of this state.
So the first protest really happened in Michigan. It was organized by a right-wing group called the Michigan Conservative Coalition. It actually has ties to the Trump re-election campaign. They organized something called Operation Gridlock. And the idea was to get around social distancing. People would just turn up in their cars and basically honk their horns and drive around the state capitol. And some people did get out of their cars anyway. Really, that attracted a lot of attention, particularly from right-wing media who championed it.
It was just a matter of time before the people suffering under this insanity said something about it.
Born of rebellion and revolution, we are ready to fight.
And as a result of that, protests began to pop up in other states. If you listen to the organizers of the protests, they'll tell you that it's Democrats and it's Republicans and it's whoever, but there's a lot of support for Donald Trump at the protest. And you'll also see people carrying guns, big guns, semi-automatic weapons, standing outside state government buildings. And if you look at the Facebook groups where these are being organized, there's a lot of conspiracy theories that have been shared about how coronavirus isn't that bad, and also about other right-wing issues like how vaccines are dangerous. But really, what's interesting is who is orchestrating the protests. So actually, behind the scenes, they're being organized in some cases by people with links to the Trump administration or existing right-wing groups. And really now they're the ones who are promoting the protests. So instead of really being an organic movement, I think it's being driven from the top. Donald Trump has offered tacit support for the protests.
These are people expressing their views. They seem to be very responsible people to me.
And part of that is that, I mean, these are Trump supporters coming out, so he doesn't want to upset them. But also, he wants to reopen the economy, and he's been pushing for states to lift lockdowns because people have been affected. You know, 26 million Americans over 5 weeks have lost their jobs. A majority of Americans support the lockdowns and in fact are concerned that the lockdowns might be lifted too soon. At one protest, some healthcare workers came out and stood in front of a line of cars. Those healthcare workers got a huge amount of support online. Another thing is that because people are at the protests and they're coming about, they're milling about, they're not doing social distancing, some epidemiologists are now warning that we could see a spike in cases in some of these states in about 3 or 4 weeks' time.